guys, sorry I can't be here to explain this to you, but this really should be review anyway. So I'm going to go through these notes, and you will need to make sure you put them into your notes, and then you need to do the homework. Okay, so it's not going to be a long lesson. So parallel lines, remember, lines that never intersect. Even if they go on forever, they're never going to cross. A transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll have two parallel lines and then we'll have a transversal that crosses both of those. So when we look at two parallel lines, there is a space in between them that we call the interior, and then there is space outside of them, which would be the exterior. Okay, so first you need to understand that. Then there's also a word that we use that is alternate. And alternate means opposite. So if I talk about two angles being on alternate sides, then I'm saying they are on opposite sides. So just a little bit of vocabulary before we get started, really looking at it. Now notice what we have here. We have a parallel line M and a parallel line N. We don't know they're parallel unless somebody puts arrows on them. So those arrows then tell us that the lines are parallel. And then T is a transversal. Okay. And when that transversal crosses those two parallel lines, it makes four angles at the top and four angles at the bottom. So a total of 8 angles. And these angles have special names based on where they are in relation to each other. So there are angles that are called corresponding angles, and these angles are in the same position in relation to the parallel and the transversal, or the other parallel and the transversal. So what I'm trying to say is, if we look at angle 1 here, notice how it is in the upper left of those 4 angles. The corresponding angle to that would be in the upper left of the bottom 4. So that would be angle 5. So angles 1 and 5 are corresponding. Okay, we can do that again. Angle 2 is in the upper right. Angle 6 is in the upper right. So they are corresponding. We can do that a couple more times. Okay, so again, we want these 4 and these 4. Angle 3 is in the bottom left, and angle 7 is in the bottom left. I'm talking about within the top circle, angle 3 is the bottom left, and in the bottom circle, angle 7 is. So those are corresponding angles, angles 3 and 7. And then the last two are 4 and 8 because they're both in the bottom right. And if we were to cut right through this pair of parallel lines, if we were to cut right along through there and pick up the bottom piece and put it on top of the top piece, you would see they match up perfectly. So the corresponding angles would be on top of each other and they'd be the same measure. So corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, so that's one category of angles that we get. The next are alternate, and this is why I was going over that idea a minute ago. That would mean opposite sides of the transversal. Interior, so that means in between the parallel lines. So we're looking for angles that are between the parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. So 3, that's an angle on the inside. It's to the left of the transversal. 6 is to the right of the transversal on the inside. So they are alternate interior. Okay, so let's put a little bit something here. Alternate, so they're on opposite sides of the transversal and between the parallel lines. So we just decided 3 and 6. And then there's another pair of angles that are between the parallel. They have to be between because they're interior. That would be 4 and 5. So those are also alternate interior. And alternate interior angles are also going to be congruent. Next, we have alternate, so opposite sides of the transversal. But they are exterior, so they are outside the parallel lines. So looking here, angle 1's on the outside. Opposite side of it, you might think is angle 2, but it's not. It is going to be angle 8. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 8. And then the other pair, 2 and 7. And these are also congruent. The last pair of special angles are same side interior. So they're on the same side of the transversal. That's the same side part. And then they're interior, so they are between the parallel lines. So if we look here, angle 4 is on the inside, and angle 6 is on the inside and also to the right. So they're same side interior. And then angle 3 is on the inside and left, and angle 5 is on the inside and left. Okay, I'm going to hold off on just a second to tell you what the relationship is for these. These are not going to be congruent. And here's why I want to hold off on a second. I want us to label the ones that are congruent. Okay, so 1 is congruent to 8. 8 is congruent to 5 because they're vertical. And 4 is congruent to 1 because they're vertical. All right. Now, 1 and 2 are supplementary, right? They're a linear pair. 1 and 2 are supplementary because they're a linear pair. So I'm going to make those a blue. 2 is congruent to 3 because they're vertical. 3 is congruent to 6 because they're alternate interior. And 6 is congruent to 7 because they're vertical. So look at my pretty little picture here. Notice my corresponding ones line up. The green ones correspond, the blue ones correspond. The green ones are congruent, the blue ones are congruent. But a blue and a green will be supplementary. So if you look at 4 and 6, they're supplementary, not congruent, and 3 and 5 are as well. So same side interior angles are supplementary. And there's a lot of alliteration there, guys. Same side are supplementary. Okay, So let's go over here. And if you remember to do this color thing that I've done here, if you do that every time you do some problems with these angles, it's going to help you. Okay, so all of the blues are the same measure. Okay, so that's congruent. All of the greens are the same measure. And if you take a green, add it to a blue, you'll get 180 degrees. Okay, so this little box here is very helpful. All right, so you'll need to make sure you have all of this in there because next week on Monday, I'm going to be checking your notes. And let's see what kind of questions you're going to be asked. So the first thing you're just going to be asked is tell me what kind of angles they are. So we've got Y and X here. Y is exterior, X is interior. So I can't say there's alternate exterior, can't say they're alternate interior because they're not the same. One's in and one's out. And I can't say they're same side interior. So the only possibility is corresponding. So let's check to see if they correspond. Up at this circle, Y is the upper right. Down at this circle, X is upper right. So they're both upper right angles. Guys, when I say upper right, think about it. Like here, this is upper right, this is upper left, this is lower left, and this is lower right. That's what I'm talking about, okay? All right, so these are corresponding. Then number two, these are both interior. So I know it's going to be something with interior. I just need to decide, are they on alternate sides of the transversal or the same? They're both on the left, so that's same. Same side, interior. Number three, they're both interior. Are they on the same side of the transversal or opposite? Well, X is on the left and Y is on the right, so that's opposite, and the word for opposite is alternate. Number four, they're exterior. And they are on opposite sides of the transversal, so they're alternate exterior. Okay, so I want you to do all of the rest of this on your own. There's a page here, and then there are 2 pages that are your homework. And I want you to have all of this done, this whole section, by Monday. What I will do is I will put the answers to the you try in the content library so you can look at it and make sure your answers are correct to help yourself. But your homework answers you're not going to get until next week. So if you check content library, you can look for your you try answers. That's these 10 problems. Okay. But remember, all notes must be finished and homework needs to be finished. All right. Take care. Have a good weekend. See you Monday.